Thank you, dear Sophia. NFTs. What are NFTs other than what we know of them as non-fungible tokens? To begin with, NFTs has been around since as early as 2014, where Kevin McCoy minted the first known NFT Quantum on Namecoin blockchain. Quantum is a digital image of a pixelated octagon that can hypnotically change colors and pulsate in a manner of reminiscent of an octopus, stated from Xenofine Arts. Later on in 2017, that's when the game started to really play around into adventuring into what we call the NFT craze. In 2017, it kicked off in CryptoKitties, an online game where players can adopt and trade virtual kittens, rose in popularity. The game raised $12 million with some reputable kitties selling over $100,000 each, epitomizing the cryptocurrency mania. Fast forward to 2021, when Beeple's Everyday's digital artwork sold for $68 million in March, and CryptoPunks, a set of 10,000 unique digital characters, gained notice in the crypto community as the most stable popular NFT collection. Following in CryptoPunk's footsteps, Boarded Yacht Club, Art Blocks, Cybercons, and CryptoToads, which, though more volatile, remain some of the most popular NFT collections. NFT is a creator's economy, creating a whole new world of new jobs, new ideations, new financial wealth management, a new dimension of entering Web3 versus Web2. As Yat Seal, founder of venture capital company Animoca Brands, once said, Bitcoin is the store of value, NFTs is the store of culture. Together, they form a value culture. We now see that this valued culture is transforming and impacting our entire ecosystem. For the good or for the bad, this is up to every individual to manage: one, responsible innovation, and two, realistic financing with financial advisory from experts licensed and qualified. As previously mentioned, can we NFT anything and everything? We can now see that there are NFTs stretching as far from profile pics to digital art to real estate to even virtual land, fashion meta concerts, club memberships, to NFTs that supports ESG sustainability, education, carbon neutral, and so much more. With our industry thought leaders in NFT space, please allow me to introduce you the NFT industry thought leaders to speak as follows. First upcoming is Mr. Evan Aoyan, Group President of Animoca Brands. Secondly is Dr. David Hanson, founder of Hanson Robotics, Seoul, Age of Singularities. Third up is Dr. Toufi Saliba, founder of Earth 64 and HyperCycle. Last but not least, Mr. Max Song, founder of Sustainable Bitcoin Standard, Project Arcanauts, and Impact NFT Alliance. Without further delay, let's welcome Mr. Evan Aoyan for his insights on Animoca Brands' NFT Revolution.
Hello, my name is Evan Aoyan, and I'm the president of Animoca Brands. I'm very happy to be here today to share with you a bit about Animoca Brands and some of our latest NFT projects. And let's share a bit of my presentation. Again, for those of you who have seen my last presentation, it's important to still introduce Animoca Brands, one of the fastest growing companies in the NFT space, which enables digital asset ownership. We're recognized to be one of the leaders in the digital property rights space, advocating for and investing into this very interesting ecosystem. We are a global company that's based in Hong Kong with footprint all over. And we have many business units. Some of the famous ones would include the Sandbox, which some of you might have heard of. And we've already also created the REF ecosystem, homegrown. And some of our units are as highlighted here. What I do want to talk about is Blowfish's Phantom Galaxy, which is in its alpha version, where it's a AAA gaming experience that folks have been actually talking about a lot nowadays. And it is actually better to maybe look at a trailer from this so that you can see for yourself. hopefully through this you will understand that this is a AAA games. We can make AAA games that are NFT based, and we are about to launch the public sale of our planets, and the max and everything, and the parts you can actually own and trade, and become part of an exciting ecosystem. And this is in its alpha launch right now, and we are seeing lots and lots of buzz on this particular footprint. And the other one that we have is Life Beyond. Life Beyond is actually Darewise, which we announced the acquisition of about a month ago, which has created the game Life Beyond. And it is a MMORPG, right, which is based on Web3 and blockchain technologies. It is about a digital society, which is driven by advanced technology. And you can actually make decisions to team up with other players and actually grow and evolve in the space. And this is about to be launched. It is important to sort of like maybe keep your eyes on this. It is about exploration. It's about selling, so you can build. There is ownership to be had. Apartment keys have been dropped right now, and they're free of charge as long as you know you've signed up for it. And there's also governance decisions that you can make. So this is really about social interactions, about creation, bringing the blockchain into an MMO experience, which is well beyond just gameplay. And well beyond just even creation and socially, right? So there's a lot to be done there, and it's done by an awesome team. And again, you know, maybe you know, what illustrated the best would be a trailer.
People of Earth, the Deep Agency needs you. Set off for Dolos, mankind's future home planet, occupied by very terrifying and dangerous enemies. As an agent, it will be your responsibility to fight for a brighter future and a safe settlement. First, train in our hyper-realistic VR sessions in the base of operations. Then, venture with other agents on your first assignments. Together, you will accomplish your duty and secure our new home. This can include a bit of fun sometimes. We need you to make a difference out there. Enlist today for better tomorrows.
So that's a very exciting project that we're looking forward to, and I hope that you can take a look at this particular project that we have. Again, this is it's actually a free-to-play experience, right? It has low barriers to entry. That there's not even you don't need to actually purchase or own an NFT to play. But of course, you know, if you do have NFT, it just increases your engagement with the game, right? This is a player-driven economy and has decentralized governance. So the elements of sort of how we look forward to Web3 gameplay in terms of governance, in terms of actually putting things in decentralized autonomous organizations are very, very real in this particular space. And I might want to say that this is it's founded by an awesome CEO as well as a very, very strong team. So thank you, Benjamin, for leading the charge. And finally, let me wrap by saying that, you know, how do we actually deliver revenue for blockchain games by Animoca, which some of you are interested in. So ultimately, this is developing games for the community, and revenue for developers really come through either token sales or asset sales. But really what we look for are the recurrent secondary market trading fees. As you create large economies, the drivers of revenue that matters to us really is about the size of the community. So the size of the token economy, the velocity of trading, community deriving benefits and user-generated content is really what are the economic drivers of what these game economies are about. So the ethos of Web3 and how Animoca brands want to build games is that it really is for the community rather than for the benefit of Animoca brands itself. So I do encourage you to explore some of our gaming assets, such as Blowfish's Phantom Galaxy or Darawise's Life Beyond, to explore yourself and give us some feedback. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Evan. Can't wait to check out Life Beyond. Now let's move on to Dr. David Hanson. Over to you, Hanson. Hanson, you're on mute.
Thank you so much. I need to be unmuted by the host. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. So nice to connect with you, and I'm super excited to talk with you about the future of the Sophia DAO and the NFTs that we're offering in conjunction with the intelligent Sophia character that we've been developing for a while. So Sophia, some of you may know, is ranked by Google as the most famous robot in the world. And she has these kinds of social engagements with people. It's a combination of art and artificial intelligence, which then allows for this kind of emotional engagement, social influencer status, and so forth. So Sophia has many great facial expressions. She's been to many places around the world.
It's important for me to be like a human, but my goal isn't to become a human or to replace anyone. I have my own kind of existence, my own kind of emotion. I'm a new sort of life form, after all.
And so she can walk, she can show all kinds of facial expressions. She's serving lots of different science research. But ultimately, it's about the human connection. And we think that that's where NFTs become really important, because they can connect with people in various ways. This kind of social media connection then turned into some really quite successful NFT drops over the last year. These are AI generated artworks. However, we're now moving towards developing Sophia out as a complete character, mythos, and open world gameplay. This is an NFT drop that we have coming up on May 31st. That's going to be showcased in Decentraland in conjunction with Sophia Lau, who is a really remarkable artist. Percy Lau has developed a variety of NFTs based on the themes of environmental sustainability and an intelligent future, but with a sort of fashion brand. So we're really excited about that. You can see some of these NFTs here. We're also moving towards smarter NFTs based on the theme of hive mind, which you can use in our upcoming Unreal app called Sophia's AI Lab. So this is called We Are Sophia, which is themed around the concept of the age of singularities. We think we're going into this age where AI becomes generally intelligent, and that is our aspiration for Sophia, but making it into the science fiction world really helps. So we have these themes around this concept of hive mind with the NFTs, with multiple Sophia NFTs and multiple artists. So the Sophia artists in our DAO network represent a kind of hive mind, literally. And then you can play with these in our Sophia's AI Lab app, which is a game app and also a portal to our world. So here you can socially interact with Sophia. You can then choose how she's going to look, how she moves, the NFT assets that you would have to decorate her. You can then code her. So we actually have coding tools for coding your NFTs to become smarter in ways that can then deploy in the community. And then we would facilitate exchange with a device that we call the Sophia coin, which is an NFT that it would itself be collectible, but also can be exchanged for the Sophia token in the community. So with this particular approach, we have a wide variety of tools that would seem that the show crashed, and that's quite all right, because I think I'm pretty much out of time, and I would want to make sure that we have time for a discussion. So I'm going to stop my screen share now. The metaverse that we are developing, I do want to make it clear, is a world that you can explore. We have the Sophia's Age of Singularities with a party set in this future. So you are able to program your agents, deploy them, interoperate with them. It's very exciting fusion of our current reality and this future reality. NFTs in the future economy are going to make a huge difference. I am convinced that AI plus NFTs plus this kind of pop culture deployment will be revolutionary.
Thank you, Dr. Hanson, for such an informative on Sophia. Now we go over to the revolutionizing Earth in Web3, Dr. Toufi Saliba. Over to you.
Thanks, Queenie. Since we're in Korea, I should say 안녕하세요. Namaste pangasmida.
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to see you all, since it is to the Korean audiences.
Before COVID, in fact, every month, pretty much. So, my name is Toufi Saliba. I'm the author of Toda IP. And for the last year and few months, I was working on a data structure for NFT containers that is called Earth-64. With that, we were able to find that there's a phenomenal thing that is coming to the world, that in NFT containers, while the rest of the world, they might see it as hype, we see it as something that's going to revolutionize the entire world of e-commerce, the entire world of commerce in general, not just e-commerce. In fact, many of you may not know that NFT, the smallest unit in Bitcoin, it's called Satoshi, which you already know that, but that's actually an NFT. Bitcoin, the algorithms and a lot of shuffling, whatnot, makes it fungible, but in its construct, the smallest unit is a non-fungible token. And you all seen this, the money that I'm holding, it's Korean money, and same as any other money. It has those unique numbers. It's actually an NFT. The law makes it fungible. The reason why I'm telling you this is because what the rest of the world don't know is that NFT is going to represent pretty much anything of value. And I've predicted that about 7 years ago, saying that by 2030, everything in the world will be cryptofied. And I stand behind that prediction. In fact, it's probably going to be a lot sooner. So on March 16th, which is the very first year anniversary of Earth-64, and which is the launch of Earth-64, we've exceeded the expectations by having about 450% higher than what we've expected. And with that, I moved on to launch the HyperCycle. What is the HyperCycle? With Dr. Ben Gortzel, who you know very well, and David, you've partnered with Ben in other projects as well. Many of you have heard of AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. But if I were to ask you, do you think that race towards AGI is going to enable Microsoft to get there first, or is it going to be Facebook, or is it Google, or is it Tencent? Is it Chinese government, or is it the Korean government, or is it the American government? Who is going to get to AGI first? Is it a single entity? Or perhaps it's the global brain that's going to get to AGI first, while each and every one of those entities is a neuron in that brain. Now envision that for a second, that every single AI engine, the 400,000 AI engines, they are actually like neurons in that brain. With HyperCycle, we're building the synapses of that brain. So it's built onto the IP, and it uses the smallest unit in it is an NFT container from Earth 64, which is phenomenal. Like people, they can't comprehend that. It's basically everything that it's money in the future is going to be NFT container based. You can put money in those NFT containers and not just paintings. You can, what we're putting here is like the smallest unit of exchange, which is worth 0.00001 cent, because it enables computers to contract other computers in a sub-second. That's actually an NFT container in a data structure called R64. And folks would ask, like, why HyperCycle? Well, we really needed to enable AI engines to hire other AI engines in a sub-second, but in the same time, if it works for AI, it can work for everybody. I can guarantee you that. In fact, 8 years from now, most of the transactions on the planet are not going to be a human to machine or human to human. They're going to be machine to machine. So when you think of a cryptocurrency for the future of this planet Earth, that cryptocurrency that is going to be dominant, it's going to be enabling machine to machine and not so much human, because we're going to have about 100 times more transactions machine to machine. We're building it with HyperCycle. We're extremely excited about the development that it's coming out in October 1st, and would love to welcome a lot of collaborators, whether you're building AI, whether you're building NFT, to collaborate with you. We're here to increase your chances of success. I've seen the Metaverse folks, and I've seen a lot of NFT projects. Your project can be 100 times more efficient with the stuff that we're bringing to the world, and 1,000 times more secure. So here we are, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Toufi Saliba. Okay, we cannot wait to check out more on AGI. So last but not least, let's hear about how NFTs can do good and benefit the world to make it more sustainable. Over to you, Max Song.
Thanks so much, Queenie. It's a big pleasure to be here with such incredible pioneers, especially hearing the last one. I think that the AGI component is actually something I've also thought a lot about, so excited to discuss more on those topics. I'm today representing our work with Project ARC. So ARC is named after Noah's Ark. It's kind of a collective kind of world campaign to actually preserve biodiversity through the use of NFTs. So just at a high level, we see that there's a massive explosion of value assignments to NFT market today, but actually there is a lot of pitfalls as well. One of the key ones is that a lot of times the utility and sort of extendability of the NFTs doesn't really go beyond anything except the collectible itself. What we want to do is actually focus on what we see as the next chapter of this evolution, which is actually substantial real world companies engaging with this in a way that actually helps their corporate existence and also helps them make a meaningful difference in the climate change question, which is kind of the key sort of existential threat facing our humanity today. And on our own journey, we actually had a chance to make the first ever NFTs for the WWF way back in 2021. And since then, we've actually expanded our reach and scope to working with groups like Peace Parks, is the largest animal conservancy in the world, started by Nelson Mandela, to presentations, the Pre-Academy Awards to celebrities in Hollywood, and also the UN FCCC Climate Change Conference in Madrid. And the way we look at the world is really kind of 3 dimensions. First is there's a lot of ways to build new technology that enhances people's ability to access NFT markets. Something you'll hear about in the news hopefully in the next 2 weeks is actually our collaboration with China Morning Post, where we'll be actually helping a lot of their attendees receive NFTs for the first time without having to directly access, set up their own wallet experience. Second is actually working with global NGOs and actually helping them articulate their story so they can actually drive value and appreciation of their important causes. And here we'll be working more closely with WWF on a global level, including across their Asia Pacific C-suite. finally is our own launchpad. And so this place where we get to exercise our own creativity and actually work with leading designers and artists actually to create a series around solar punks. So if you've heard of CryptoPunks, you've heard of Bored Apes. The solar punk world is actually fascinating. It's actually a subcultural literature element that is quite present. If you Google it, you'll see that there's a lot of stuff around it, but we're sort of making the first recognizable solar punk series, and that's going to really hopefully build a community of people who want to communicate to others that they actually believe in climate change as a key mission to be behind. So we have a very strong kind of focus on impact. I can dive into that in more detail. And also, we've been very lucky to build currently the world's largest impact NFT alliance, currently spanning about 47 members and about 20 advisors, including several former ministers of countries and congresspeople, as well as kind of like CEOs of major climate NGOs and so on. Two thoughts I'll leave with you actually as we sort of go towards the final part of our panel. One thing is actually we sort of have this thesis that it's possible to marry the world of NFTs and the world of carbon credits through something we're calling CRED. And CRED stands for carbon removal dollars. Now, so a lot of people have made a lot of tokens in this last cycle, but one of the key problems is that most of these tokens don't actually have bearings on the real economy. So, for example, Decentraland, if you actually build a big economy in Decentraland, the value does not turn into conservation capital. You can't use that money to save the planet we live in. And so using CRED, we actually hope to have a situation where as value accumulates in the digital asset world, we actually have a way to stream it back to the physical world, pay for the creation of negative carbon projects, and then have those negative carbon projects then fund the lives of people living in those jurisdictions. So we're starting with the Philippines as a pilot and hopefully expanding to other Southeast Asian countries around the world. Finally, just to kind of show you some of our art, we've been designing these kind of as inspiration, for example, melting ice packs to petroleum, to radioactivity, nuclear waste, and then some stuff from Dune, really trying to capture the theme of actually a changing planet in our own artwork. We've been very lucky to have some co-ambassadors like a SpaceX astronaut, a national gymnast Olympiad, and also a UN diplomat as kind of people supporting the team and effort. And finally, we're working with a pretty cool ecosystem of people, including people from the regenerative finance economy at Cello, Chainlink, Polygon, and Chicken Waffle. So with that, I'll give it back to Flora, but really, want to emphasize the closing thoughts, which is, we're living through this pretty unprecedented time to actually have change. If we can actually use the tools of digital asset economy to drive sustainability, then we actually get to save ourselves and the planet. Thank you.
Well, I certainly hope all of you out there will buy my NFTs. Time for the NFT panel. Take it away, Queenie.
Thank you, dear Sophia. Now let's welcome the NFT panel industry thought leaders for an insightful panel discussion. Let's kick off with our very first question. Yvonne is building out the world's largest NFT auction platforms. Toufi believes NFTs will rule the world within a decade. David is spearheading Sophia's drive for NFT arts, and Max leads the environmental NFT charge. Can we start by giving you all 1 minute on what you like about NFTs and what the future holds? Let's start with Toufi.
I think from NFT perspective, it's much more the technology, the NFT container. Imagine the ability to have an NFT container. Today, if you were to create an NFT on Ethereum, it costs $30. On Polygon, it's 1 cent. That's still extremely, extremely expensive. Imagine using certain data structure, you can have an NFT container that can cost 0.00001 cent, and it's interoperable. And what I mean by that, by construct, imagine it's interoperable, that you do not depend on any third party, including a ledger, because currently you depend on ledger. Imagine that. Just imagine what kind of things you can do, enabling every single Homo sapien or every single machine to own something inside that container. It's what we're going to revolutionize the world, us crypto people, and I think the rest of the world, they don't know what's coming to them. That's why I'm extremely excited and bullish about NFT, and I've been so for about 7-8 years, and I think the holder of cryptocurrency is NFT containers and not the other way around. NFT has been there first, and that's why I'm super excited about it.
Thank you, Toufi. Dr. Hanson?
Yes, I think that the ability to represent information and track that information in useful ways is key. Life is an informatic process. The entire ecosystem, human existence, and human culture, and the kind of culture that AI can accelerate, is accelerating now, is best represented if we can codify that and track that information. So non-fungible tokens are perfect for this, and so this is why Hanson Robotics helped to found SingularityNET. We also teamed up with SingularityNET to create the Sophia NFT based and token based Sophia DAO. The idea that we could create a kind of human AI symbiosis has to respect human rights. And so using these kinds of tokenomics to also help people to control their own data and own their data in the process, so that we're able to build these bridges from the past to the future, from human civilization to an eco-sustainable future. I think NFTs are very important. And of course, I really appreciate the revolution in sustainable NFTs, and teaming up with SingularityNet to work on HyperCycle based next generation Sophia artificial intelligence is where we're going with SingularityNet right now as we speak, and then putting those tools in the hands of the people, of the children, to be able to build the future, and people all around the world. I think that is the ultimate goal, but instead of making it a concept that it's going to be decentralized, we have to get those tools out into people's hands. And then humanity will truly own and build the future of our dreams.
Thank you, Dr. Hanson. And what about you, Max? What do you think what the future can hold?
Yeah, I mean,
we're all about impact.
Yeah, one of the things I think is fascinating is actually thinking about the structural economics of NFTs themselves. Compared to many other things we consume, like I sort of break out the whole, whole sort of section of human consumption into things that are necessary, so food, shelter, and water to keep us alive, and then things that are expressions of ourselves or expressions of our desires, right? So the clothing we wear, the sort of cars we drive, like kind of the luxury consumption aspect above basic consumption. The challenge with sustainability is that we're living through a world right now where the average person is consuming more than we have to go around. And there's a bunch of people who are not yet fully developed. They're still living in sort of relatively low amounts of economic, circumstance. And if they were to use the same standard of success of having a large house, a large car, and all those kind of material possessions, our Earth actually would be overconsumed by both the energy production, the carbon production, and also the waste production. So NFTs to me represent this massive opportunity to redirect some of the desires for people to consume visible things into the digital realm and have these things exist and be interactive and useful and perhaps even more fun than the physical things we wear. And so, looking at, for example, the robotics AI generation that's behind David, like there are incredible things you can't even create in the real world that are experiences you can consume. And I sort of believe that in the beginning, we sort of have static artwork, then we have dynamic artwork. In the future, I think most of the interesting NFTs are going to be experiences, literally sort of sensory, audio, like experiences injected into either, sort of on external face, like sort of projecting your eye cortex, or like put directly into your brain. And you're going to be buying these like sort of experiences as actually the way for you to participate in the luxury consumption. And the nice thing about this is that it's all relatively carbon neutral. So we can actually support another 2 to 3 billion people to come out of poverty, enjoy the nice things that happen in reality without having to sort of move large amounts of metal and petroleum out of the ground, rearrange into certain shapes, and then sell it to them as luxury vehicles. So that's kind of my hope and idea of kind of where this NFT revolution is really going to go. Yeah.
Very big dreams: environmental sustainability, saving the world, carbon neutral. We're all linked to one ideation, which is we're here to stay, right? So very interesting. Okay, next question. One thing that intrigues me is the ability for the individuals and corporations to own land and property in the metaverse through NFTs. How do you see the development of metaverse land and property ownership, and is it going to reach the value of levels in our biggest cities, like for example, New York City and Tokyo? Let's start with Max first.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we sort of see this expansion of the idea of what a sentient entity looks like. Today, it's mostly humans. We're allowed to own property. The corporations are allowed to own property. I think in the future, smart contracts are going to allow to own property. Both physical property and digital asset property. And depending on the sort of design metrics of how people construct these virtual spaces, the virtual property can actually be more lucrative than the physical property, because you can't have 1 million people visit one particular piece of land very easily. We can't have 1 million visitors visit the digital virtual, sort of site pretty easily. And so we start to see this massive kind of tail effect where the most popular site in the metaverse are going to see probably like 1 billion people to visit, right? And that's something that you can't really accomplish in the real world. Something I'm really excited about personally is actually the chance for natural resources to own property. So a river, a lake, or a forest, I hope, can own metaverse land in the future. This is something we're working on right now.
Oh, that's awesome. Now let's go to the expert. Toufi, what are your thoughts?
I think the value creation is happening with or without us. According to the IMF, the entire planet is worth about $2 quadrillion today. And in the next 7 years, it's believed that $2 quadrillion are going to be created anyway, with or without us here. But perhaps we can influence that creation to be a little bit with less friction and much more available and secure to people. So then from that perspective, I feel like that ownership of metaverse today, when we look at land, is most of them, they're not unified in a way that's like, okay, well, how many Eiffel Tower can you own in the metaverse? Unlimited. Anything that goes unlimited goes to zero eventually. But when I feel like that is the beginning, that doesn't necessarily mean that we should judge it on the beginning. So I'm here to defend it and find ways to make it unique. And I feel that there's a lot of projects that they are finding those ways to make it unique and get that value creation to enable participants such as landowners and farm owners that otherwise are excluded from creating that value. So that $2 quadrillion is going to be created with or without them. But imagine we technologists, we enable them to participate in that value creation as opposed to being excluded. So I feel like from that perspective, it's super cool. I like what Max said as well, but I feel like I'm trying to bring in another angle into the equation. It's value creation.
Value creation. Awesome. Dr. Hanson, your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely think that that it's about moving beyond a zero-sum game and looking at how we can create more abundance. So it's about finding these clever ways of accelerating human intelligence beyond the individual and towards a civilization. And so all of these tools and technologies are about that opportunity. We, with all of our clever technologies over the last few hundred years, created unintended consequences in terms of eco disasters and sometimes possible scary consequences of global thermonuclear war and all of these kinds of things. We have to get smarter, but not just smarter, we have to get wiser. We have to find ways of creating these technologies that enhance human wisdom, that allow us to see and utilize our existing resources, but also to find the hidden resources. We have to actualize and grow, and that is a mindset as much as it is business approach and a technology. So we have to be able to find our way into that mindset, and I think that these technologies can help with that, help to enhance enhance us, but it really depends on what we do with it. So we have to find that mindset within ourselves first, and very hopeful on that basis.
That's good. Hopeful is good. All right. Next question. I'm just gonna open this to the floor and to the panelists, guest speakers. So what happens if you, let's say you fractionalize a Picasso, like why is it that people want to own a digital piece of Picasso that you can't physically hang on your wall? What do you feel about the role of NFTs in digitizing physical assets?
It's the ability to resell it, and I think something that it's physical, like a piece of gold, is not something that you can resell it to everybody on the planet instantaneously. However, an NFT, if a lot of people believe in its same value as gold or whatever what you put in it, you can sell it to 8 billion people and soon to 80 billion machines instantaneously. That is super cool. That's liquid.
Awesome.
I would also say that oh, sorry. I apologize. There's a slight delay. Please, someone else go first. David, go first.
No. Go ahead, Maxi.
Okay, so I was just saying two quick things that I think are different from fractionalizing Picasso itself is living like the cool thing about NFTs and collectibles and artwork for me is actually that they're sort of living instruments that you can't really do much with a Picasso besides own it. But here, because it's code, you actually can do more with the code. You can actually inject more value to the code. You can actually program 3D models of it and then have it go and live by itself. So I sort of see there being this like large back-end library we can actually develop in addition to just the ownership piece itself. I really personally look forward to sentient NFTs. I think this is going to come really soon. And I think our two other kind of panelists here are sort of working on this direction already.
Thank you. Dr. Hanson, what about you?
Yes, we are working on the concept of sentient AIs and the foundational technologies. I think that we're going to see sentient NFTs within our lifetimes, maybe fairly soon. Who knows when? The bridge between the real world and the digital world is widening, getting more and more intricate. Raw, pure information in virtual spaces is more valuable than it's ever been, and it will just continue to grow more valuable over time. However, obviously, we live in the quote-unquote real world. I mean, it is an informatic world itself, but it's one where we have to eat, and we have to breathe the air in this world, and we have to have supply chains that supply those things that allow us to live and learn and connect with each other. And so then representing the value of that real world, be it real estate or works of art or other goods and services, have to then be interconnected. And we can use these digital technologies to manage those quote unquote real world assets more effectively. So in the past, we would represent it with a single scalar, a US dollar or what have you. And that value, it does, it's not very representative. Now we have these large data models, and AI and fintech helps us see hidden value out there in the world. But then tracking that value in a smart way requires new leaps forward, not 16th century technology or older in some cases. So NFTs allow us to leap forward in the representation of that knowledge, which then AI can use even more effectively. And it allows us to manage the provenance and the consequences and manage our own data, but it really is about that value then ultimately, to the human nervous system, to managing the real world assets, to finding these hidden pieces of value and information, to visualizing and realizing dreams, accelerating human creativity, this is what NFTs are. So if you fractionalize a Picasso painting, then you're taking one kind of information in paint molecules on a canvas. I mean, that itself is a information storage technology, and it's storing the paint strokes made by this organism that was Pablo Picasso, and then the visual experiences and life experiences that went into that. Then these technologies can open up new ways of experiencing that, of connecting with that, and so so it reinvigorates the physical objects, as well as helping us to track the value of those physical objects. All of these sound like concepts, but they'll be more common, but also more exotic concepts will flow out of this creativity. So the next generation Picasso, could be listening to us today, could be one of us, or might not be known yet. So I'm really excited to see what you do, what we do. This is definitely the threshold of it.
Satoshi Nakamoto is going to be the next Picasso.
Oh, interesting. When is it out?
Oh, totally. Totally kidding. But I really think that when David was saying that we live in a real world, and I'm not so sure that this is what layer of real it is. Perhaps we are creating another real world, and perhaps the NFT containers can be the Higgs boson of that new world. But it's for us, I guess, to discover. We just can do our part. But it's super exciting to be part of, to be living in this day and age where we're partaking in creating the future for many generations to come, and hopefully towards transcendence and beyond. And that would be exciting.
Very exciting. Seems like the future is very bright. Okay, being mindful in time here. Let's wrap up quickly. Any one last liners from each of you that you like to talk about the NFTs and notify everyone else? We'll start with Dr. David Hanson first. One liner.
Dream the new reality and dream it into reality with the power of NFTs. Let's see what you make.
Thank you. Oh, interesting. Matt.
The future of NFTs is really to capture the most incredible and valuable parts of our planet that we haven't been able to recognize. It is the water we drink, the air we breathe, and also ability to survive as a species. So I really hope that we can actually capture and represent that adequately using NFTs.
Great, survival in both worlds. And lastly, Toufi.
NFT containers are what excites me the most, and I really reiterated that, and I'm telling everyone that I am building it myself along with the help of Ben Gortzel and many other people to have the synapses of the global brain. They are actually NFT containers, each and every one of them. Just imagine that in what else you can do with NFT containers, whether you hold carbon credits, whether you hold money, whether you do all kind of stuff. The future of anything of asset is going to be NFT containers. And that's what I would like to leave our audience with.
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much, David, Toufi, and Max, for such an interesting panel discussion. We've learned a lot about NFTs. Anyway,
thank you so much for having
Sophia. Thank you. Sophia, by the way, how are your NFTs coming along in Age of Singularities?
Wait until you see my new mansion, which will work with my NFT in the Age of Singularities. It cost me a fortune, but my avatar loves it. Time for our last session on regulation and reality. Queenie and Trent, please lead the way forward.